please subscribe. Please. Please.
Didn't have an intro, now got one. It's your boy TJ London, and I'm back again with another video for the Afro Sheen gang, and there's no intro. This video is not something that I've sat down and planned. I was scrolling through my comments and just replying to every one of the comments, even those comments that were there for over 2 years and I just haven't responded to.
That is not correct.
I saw that somebody asked me about 2 years ago saying they just wanted advice. They wanted to know if they should use a bonnet over their hair when they go to sleep at night or use a durag. And I just thought to myself, do you know what? How about I just give the pros and cons? Well, I'm not going to be biased here because you guys obviously know, well, you've seen in the videos, I've used a bonnet and a durag. So you guys now have both perspectives, and for those of you that have been watching recently, you know for a fact that I mainly use bonnets more. Each of these, I don't even know what you call them, materials, they both have their pros and cons towards them. So it's not a thing where I'm going to be bad-mouthing the durag or bad-mouthing the bonnet or praising the bonnet. Like, no, I'm just going to state the pros and cons. Because at the end of the day, whatever works for you, works for you. Some of you may prefer to use a bonnet. Some of you may prefer to use a durag. Who knows? But I'm just going to be explaining the pros and cons, and if this is something that you're considering or you just don't know what to use, then this is the video for you. Before we get into this, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's get this rolling. Because I want to get to 5,000 subscribers, man. I've been on 4K forever.
Listen.
So let's talk about the durag first. I feel like there's something crawling on my skin. A lot of people use durags like in day-to-day life. It's rare that you will see someone without a durag. There are different types of durags, but I'm just gonna say, first and foremost, if you are going to use a durag and you have hair that's type 4, it would be more advisable to use a durag that is silky, like so. Because you will hear a lot of the times, or hear many other people that do hair on YouTube, you will hear them say that it's good to sleep with a silky pillow so that your hair isn't too damaged with sleeping with different fabrics. And I used to hear that and I was just like,
what are these people talking about? Whenever I sleep, who cares?
But it's actually true, because the silk actually plays a massive impact, and that's what really helps keep your hair into play and doesn't make it damaged. Those durags that aren't silky, don't use them on your hair, because it's just not good at the end of the day. You want the silky ones like this, and it just plays a massive impact. It doesn't leave your hair damaged or anything like that. But here's the bad thing about durags. Here's the thing that nobody talks about nowadays. Well, people are starting to talk about it now, but here's what nobody really said back in the days when people were growing out their hair. The thing with durags, if you have a hairstyle like this, for example, yeah, if you got plaits or you got hair that's just long enough to go down, or you just have lengthy hair like this, if you put this on your head and you wrap it around or do whatever you do, you can see it. This bit is sticking out. Now, when we obviously sleep, we don't know what we're doing when we're sleeping. When we're tossing and turning and rolling over from left to right, it obviously has an impact on some of our hair because some of it is left out. Now, if you sleep in a certain position where your hair is resting like this, for example, you will wake up and you'll just find your hair flying out of nowhere and it will just look like spider webs. And I feel like everybody that has had braids or any type of braids that hang out when you put on a durag, you have had that experience, especially if your hair is thick or in a tighter curl pattern. We've all had that experience. We've all been there before. And it's not a nice experience because you wake up and you just get so annoyed because you're like, your hair looks so good when you just got it done and now it's all messed up because of the way you slept, you know? And I feel like that's one of the bad things about having a durag. And that's the kind of stuff no one really was speaking about when everyone was growing their hair and had durags on that. Because I used to get so annoyed when that happened to me back in the day. But that's why I use a bonnet. But I'm going to get onto the bonnet stuff in a second. Let's just talk about the durag first. Now, again, if you have cane rows or something, like straight back cane rows, this would be perfect to use because it's just covering the whole of your head. But I genuinely feel like if you're wearing a durag, I feel like it's best to use when it's covering your whole head. But if you have bits of hair that's sticking out, unless it's from the back, because look, the way durags are designed, this is just my opinion. I genuinely believe they're designed in order for you to have, for your hair to be protected in the night time if it's going down. So like those people that have canos that go all the way down to their back, I genuinely believe this is what that's for. Or any hairstyle that's just going down towards your back, that's what it's for, in my opinion. So like when you have pop smoke braids, for example, and you just have the braids coming down to here and they're flying out whilst you have your durag on, it's not really sustainable, because when you go to sleep now, it's like you'll wake up and bits are sticking out, as I just explained. The bonnet, you don't have those issues. And another thing about the durag, which is probably the last thing I'm going to talk about, actually one more thing I'm going to say after, but with the durag, sometimes you will wake up, because the way some people tie their durags, they do it very tight. Me, I don't do it tight because I don't like the pressure on my head, and there's been times in the past where there was so much pressure on my head, I used to wake up and there would be bumps on my head because of the pressure I used to put on my head because of the durag, or because of how tight it was. And it was not fun, it was painful.
Okay.
It's not good for your head at the end of the day because it just adds unnecessary strain. Sometimes I've received headaches from just putting my durag on too tight. With the bonnet, again, you don't have those issues. Sometimes you go to sleep with the durag on your head and you wake up and it's all the way on the floor, you know, and this is just the reality of it. But anyway, let's stop talking about the durag because it's already annoying me just talking about it. Don't get me wrong, the durag is sustainable. Like, it's good to put on your head when it's covering all of your head, but if you have bits of hair flying out or bits of hair sticking out like so, I just wouldn't advise it. But this is where the bonnet comes in. Smooth transition. Now, I don't know who agrees with this or not, but this is just my opinion once again. But I genuinely feel like people have only started being comfortable with bonnets now because back then a few years ago, if you were wearing a bonnet as a man, it would be looked at as feminine or this or that. Nowadays, everyone's generalizing it, and that's okay. Like me, I didn't really know what bonnets were really. I just looked at them as a woman thing. But like now, like it works for me, so that's why I wear it. And I feel like society has come to a place now where it's just like if someone's walking on the road with a bonnet, if a guy's walking up the road with a bonnet, like no one's gonna care. The bonnet has so much advantages, and I genuinely feel like, especially if you have long hair, this is the way to go. So get the durag out the picture now. The bonnet is the way to go. Now, you guys can clearly see I have braids in my hair right now. Initially, let's say if this was about 3 years ago, I would have put the durag on my head. But because I wear the bonnet, the reason why I wear the bonnet is because that pressure that the durag puts on your head when you tie it too tight, or even when you just tie it, you still receive pressure. The bonnet, all you do is just slide it on top of your head. And here's the massive advantage of a bonnet. No matter how long your hair is, you can simply tuck your hair in. Like if you have pop smoke braids, some of you, it may not be as long, but it may come up to here, for example, just like mine. You're still able to tuck your hair inside the bonnet. And before any of you say anything like, wait, isn't that gonna make my hair fly out like a spider in the morning? No, it won't. Because I'll tell you why. Because once again, because there's no pressure being put on your head, all you're doing is sleeping. Remember, you're just laying down. Because there's no pressure being put on your head, all the hair's just being tucked back into the bonnet. So when you wake up in the morning, all you do is just take the bonnet off and it just stays how it is. And you don't have any pressure on your head, no headache, no flying bits of hair. It works. And even if you don't have any braids, like when my hair was very short, when I just started growing it a few months back, when it was not long enough to braid, I used to just comb it out, detangle it before I went to bed, put the bonnet on, wake up in the morning, my hair is still very soft. All I had to do was just moisturize it a bit and I was good to go. With the durag, you're flattening your hair, you're putting pressure on your head, and that is a disadvantage with it. How can I say it? In other words, the durag doesn't really let your hair breathe. Let's just put it like that. It's like putting the hat on your head and getting a shoelace and tying it to secure it. You don't want that. With the bonnet, it's like you're just putting over, it's like you're putting a hat on your head and just leaving it there without applying any pressure to it. And that's the best way to explain it. Now, you guys have heard the pros and cons from my side. I want to hear what you guys think about it. What do you think is better, bonnet or durag? What works for you? Let me know. Let's have a conversation in the comments. But in my opinion, you guys probably already know what I'm going to say, but I genuinely think bonnets are better in my opinion. For me especially, because if my hair is out and I don't want to put it in braids, for example, before going to bed, I can slap the bonnet on. Yes, my hair may be tangled in the morning, but it won't be so tangled to a point where I will struggle to comb it in the morning, if that makes sense. The bonnet just helps me really. And I've been wearing the bonnet since 2021, I'd say, 2021. When my girlfriend bought me a bonnet, that's when I started wearing it. And since then, I will use a durag here and there, like if I've just got straight back cameras, but I rarely use durags now. I only use my durag if I can't find my bonnet at this point. But if this is about, you will never see me for a durag. So yeah, I genuinely think bonnets are for the win. Some of you may disagree, but whatever works for you, everybody is different. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You guys can clearly see I put the bonnet on, I'm ready to go to bed. It's like something to midnight, so it's time for me to hop in my bed and go to sleep. And yeah, it's very hot right now. For those of you guys in the UK, you know we're suffering all together, man. It's gonna get hot anyway. But I'll catch you guys in the next video. And yeah, keep the notification bell on so you guys know when I upload. I'm allowing myself to be more consistent, so I will be uploading regularly, but if your notifications aren't on, then it's a wrap. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Stay safe. Follow me on all my social medias. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want to go. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. If you message me in the YouTube comments, I will reply. But yeah, see you guys in the next video. Stay safe and God bless you all.
Please subscribe. Please. Please.